Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Manal Talks Books. I'm Manal and let's talk books. So this summer, I read a lot of books and I actually got to a lot of series and books that I wanted to read for a long time but just never had the time to. The first thing I want to review is a series, and it's the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor. These are the new covers. So we have Daughter of Smoke and Bone, the first book. It's just gorgeous. This is Karou, our main character on the cover. Guys, if you've never seen the old covers, I mean, these ones are like 1,000 times better. So the first book, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. The second book, Days of Blood and Starlight. Third book, Dreams of Gods and Monsters. Before we get into it, if you like this video, please subscribe and leave a like, click the notification bell, and yeah, let's go. So I'm gonna be looking down because I have some notes here. I'm just gonna hold up the first book when I talk about it. Okay, why do I love this book? First things first, the writing. The writing is beautiful. It's lyrical, it's poetic, but it's not pretentious. It fits the story it tells. And it's not bogging down the story either. Because sometimes when there's like beautiful prose, the pace of the book is slowed down by it. But in this book, there is beautiful, beautiful prose, but it just fits the story. This story is a star-crossed lover's tale, and it's a bit like Romeo and Juliet, but on a much grander scale. And the romance is a very, very important part of this book, but it's not everything, but it is the start of everything. And the writing just conveys that. Usually the writing in a story is not something I notice very much. As long as I can read a book, as long as the writing is understandable, I'm down with it. I'm cool with it. I don't mind. I don't need any fancy writing. But with this series particularly, it's the first time where I actually noticed it and I was actually in love with it, with the writing. Normally, I would tell you the synopsis of a book series or a book whenever I talk about it. However, I don't want to tell you anything about this book except what I've already told you, which is that it's a star-crossed lover's tale. I'm also going to add that it's about angels and monsters and other worlds and wars and hope. That's all you need to know before going into this. And even if I did describe what this first book was about, it wouldn't really matter because by the end of the series, the stakes are just so much higher and our expectations are just so subversed, and we're in a completely different place by the third book than we were in the first book. So I don't want to tell you anything. Another great thing about this series is the mythology and world building. It is so unique and original. The beings she created and everything, the magic system, it's not complex to the point where you're not following, which I hate in books, because sometimes authors will think they're smart and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna make up this whole world and magic system and no one's gonna understand anything because it's so complex. So it's not a complex world and magic system, but it is fascinating. Also, the world building is not something that bogs down the story as well. Some authors love to spend so much time just describing everything, and the plot is not moving. But Laini Taylor doesn't do that. She describes the world enough where you clearly see it, you can feel it, but the story moves along. The pace is very much not slow. This is one of the series where I did actually like the ending overall, even though I will say I thought the ending, I thought everything resolved pretty fast. Now, as for the characters, every single one of them, every single one of our mains is very well fleshed out. You understand what their motivations are. They each have their own quirks and personalities, even the side characters. And I love every single one of them. I think the villain's motivation could have been better though. The villain is a Marvel villain, if you know what I mean. Like, you can see why he's a villain, and he's clearly a villain and he's doing bad things, but you don't really get his motivation, which is it's definitely a weaker point of this series, where the villain is just a villain for the sake of being a villain. I mean, he's this like emperor who's trying to conquer the world, but you don't really know why. He's just doing it. I mean, he wants power, duh, and he's a really bad person and a sociopath basically. So you get that, but at the same time, you're just like, I want more. But it's fine. It's honestly like, if you've seen Marvel movies, you know they're still good, even if most of the villains aren't the best. Like, the story is still amazing and the villain is still compelling, but he could have been better. Like, I will concede that. Another thing to say about the characters, I love their interactions, the banter and the humor of everyone. Like, Karoo, our main character's best friend, Susanna, is hilarious. I think Susanna is my favorite character, and Susanna and Mick, her boyfriend, they're my favorite side characters. Like, not even just side characters, they're my favorite characters, period. And I honestly just want a book about them exclusively. And actually there is one. It's called Night of Cakes and Puppets, but I want a series about them. So that's it. I really hope I made sense. I was all over the place with this review. I am so sorry.